Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another coffee rant with Dano and Frank, the Patriot Bald Eagle. Guys, we made it. We made it back. I'll tell you what, we're going to talk a couple things tonight on some horrific things that we have seen on our way home. Didn't really want to talk about this stuff last night, as we just kind of wanted to relay the message that we were out of harm's way, out of the hurricane that is approaching Florida very quickly. They are starting to evacuate certain areas along the Gulf Coast, as we thought they might. It's looking like, it can switch patterns at any given moment. Glad that we got the heck out of Florida. Thank you all again for all of your kind messages and comments, and thank you to all of our viewers, family, and friends. It really means a lot. It means a lot. We took everybody's advice. We took our family's advice. We took our own advice. Now, if this would have happened in the middle of what we were doing, yeah, we would have been fine. We could have stayed where we were. It would have been fine. We were in a good area. We are always well prepared. So, as most of you know who saw our video earlier today, we had made it to Ottawa, Tennessee last night. Now, that took us about 9 hours. We left Florida at about 10:45 a.m., which is the latest that we've ever left on the first day coming home. Okay, that itself was kind of difficult. We were literally throwing all of our stuff, all of our bags, everything in the car. And we did it in a way, we kind of had a feeling that this was going to happen, okay? And we kind of knew that there was a possibility that we may just have to get out of here. We were thinking about Wednesday, but we started seeing all the other storms that were hitting today. And I'll tell you what, it was a good time to go. It was a beautiful day yesterday. We hit a lot of traffic, as we hit a lot of traffic today, because, guys, and I'm not going to let you sit here any longer knowing what, because this will probably be part of the title of the video. We saw maybe one of the worst semi-truck wrecks ever. We saw a Walmart semi just south of Lexington. I was wondering why the traffic on our side of the road was stopping, because they were all turning and looking, the rubberneckers. I stopped and looked. It was terrible. We saw a helicopter flying over. I don't know if it was going to land on the highway. Jessica thought maybe it was a news helicopter. This Walmart truck was barreled up against the side. The trailer itself was completely twisted and wrapped around. There were so many fire trucks and cops and everything. They kind of had one lane open, which kind of made it look like it had lasted a while. Now, the cab, I will say, nobody was in the cab. Okay, and it didn't look as bad. So we hope and pray that that driver is okay. Didn't know what caused that, but I will say, for about an hour of our drive today through Corbin and Somerset, it was some of the heaviest rain I've ever seen in my life. It was ridiculous. And it was kind of a solemn reminder that, hey, it was probably a good idea that we got out when we did, because we would have been driving in this kind of stuff probably the whole way home. Okay? And I gotta say, though, that wreck, they had one of the big, and honestly, I don't think I've ever seen one of those semi pickup, or one of those semi tow trucks. The ones that you see on the Weather Channel with the guys up in Canada. I forget the name of that show. Something like, something Highway Through Hell or something, I think it's called. That's what this truck looked like. This is what this tow truck looked like. I'd never seen one of those on the highway. But minus that, we saw that the traffic had gone for about a mile and a half past that on the other side of the road. We had gotten going at this point, and the rain had stopped. And I was like, and then we saw nobody on the highway. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And then we saw the interchange where, like, I think it's 640 in Louisville, or not Louisville, Lexington, where it comes together with 75. And the cops were directing all this traffic off of 75. I don't know what exit it was, heading southbound, out of Lexington. and the traffic was back. I don't know how many miles, 15, 20 miles maybe. It was crazy, crazy. So, you know, just thoughts and prayers for whoever was involved in that wreck. All I saw was a truck, the semi-truck. I don't know if there was a car and maybe they had it towed out of there. They had one lane open, but it kind of looked like it had been there for a little while. So, not really too sure. That is the horrific accident that we saw. And, you know, it's you got to be careful, guys. You know, and I'll say this, too. I almost pulled over in the downpour that we were going in. But we were, like, in this grouping, right, on the highway going 75 north toward it was basically from between Corbin and past Somerset, heading north on 75. And there was like this grouping where everybody was going the same speed. Everybody was going about 50 mile an hour, you know, because you really couldn't see. But everybody had their flashers on. So it was like, okay, everybody's being safe here. And it was safe throughout. And I really appreciate it. Everybody was keeping away from each other. Nobody was, you know, there were a couple trucks that, you know, blew past us, but they were in the far left lane. It was like, at least we were able to still keep moving. And everybody had their flashers on. I really appreciated that. But I'll tell you what, guys, it's not an easy drive from Florida, from Orlando to Cincinnati. Today, it took us, I don't know, about 6 hours from Ottawa, Tennessee, which is basically at the Georgia-Tennessee line. 11 miles north of Georgia in Tennessee. And it was just like, wow, you know, I don't know what I was thinking. I thought it was like maybe a 4-hour drive home. No, it ended up being a 6-hour drive, and I am just beat. I am beat, but wanted to put this out here. We made it home. We made it through. And watching the weather now, it's looking like it may actually get worse. This storm is going to blast into the corner, right? Into the bend. Panama, looks like Panama, maybe Destin, maybe some other places might get involved in this. They're evacuating even Sarasota off the coast because of heavy storm surge that they are predicting. And that is a warning. That is a storm surge warning. So it's probably most definitely going to happen. So if you're right on the Gulf, if you're right on that shoreline, I'm sure you're already packing some stuff and getting out because it's coming. It is coming. I wanted to put this video out here tonight just in case somebody wasn't watching the news or something. We have a lot of viewers from Florida. We have over 1,000 viewers from Florida, at least 1,000. And I just want everybody to be safe. So if you're not watching the TV or anything, hopefully you're checking out different things, or at least you're paying attention to the weather. I'm sure most of you are, but wanted to mention that as well. We have a lot of family. We have family that live in Sarasota, Clearwater. They're making their decisions and preparations, and they're all they all know what to do. They all know. They've been through this 100 times. There's only so much you can do. You evacuate, get more inland, you know, if you can. You got to really watch which way the storm's going to. But yeah, everything that we were worried about, like I said in yesterday's video, we had flashbacks of Hurricane Irma when we were down there for Irma. No gas, no hotels, no nothing. Couldn't even find a place, you know, it was like you couldn't even find a place to pull over and take a nap, right? We pulled into a hotel, we found one parking space, and we literally took a nap for a half hour. And really, it was just kind of resting our eyes for a second before getting back in gridlock traffic on the highway. Now, that was Hurricane Irma. So we kept thinking about that, and it was like, oh, okay, time to go. But just, you know, even the hard downpour of rain today, like I was saying before, was kind of a reminder of why and we kept talking about this, like, it was a good decision to leave, because we would have literally been driving in rain the entire trip. And that would have been a nightmare. That would have been an absolute nightmare. And I'll tell you what, I mean, today, you know, you just had this feeling. Oh, one other thing I wanted to talk about, and thank God for these people, okay? So we were at the hotel. This was after I had already put out the video last night, or I would have put this in that video. There was electrical truck after like energy trucks. They were just pouring into that Holiday Inn. I was outside, and I'm just watching these electrical trucks pulling in one after the other. And I was talking to the guy who was in charge of the brigade, the army of energy trucks. I don't remember the name. I didn't see the name. I always say Duke Energy because that's the energy we have around here. But excuse me, I don't think it was Duke Energy. But they're on their way to Florida right now. They're probably there by now. And it was an army of energy trucks. And they were on a mission. They were like, we're going there to help people. We're going there to save people. We're doing whatever we can to help. It wasn't just about the energy, okay? It wasn't just about what they need to do to get power back on, stuff like that. It's we're here to help people. And that is what every one of them was saying. And it's like, wow, you guys are awesome. I mean, that is, you know, and it is part of their job description. Some of it I won't talk about because I feel some of it might be maybe private, or I don't know. So some of that conversation I kind of felt like a private conversation. Okay, and he kind of told me some things that they're doing that, you know, that is great. I mean, it's all great, really. But, I mean, you know, some of it I just, you know, some of the personal information and stuff like that, obviously I'm not going to share on the internet, especially with these guys. They're out there doing this job, and it's absolutely amazing what they're doing. Absolutely amazing. I have all the respect in the world for them. And we remembered this in Irma, too. This was another reminder. It was like when we were driving down through Hurricane Irma, we were heading to Florida. And it was like everywhere there were electrical energy trucks everywhere heading to Florida. We did see Duke Energy trucks then. So, guys, I'll tell you, there are great people out here. There are great people, and they were really determined. They were like, they didn't care what was going on. They were going to be there. And from what I understand, they're getting paid pretty well to be there. But it was like they weren't even thinking of that. They were thinking about the people. They were closely watching the storm. They had these different storm radios and stuff like that, stuff I've never seen before. And they were able to track exactly where, you know, they were going to be needed. They had people, I guess, I don't know, storm chasers. I said they're private conversation before. I don't really see where it's private conversation. Just some of the stuff he was telling me stuff about, you know, his family and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about that stuff. But as far as the trip, the journey that they are going on, of what could possibly be very devastating. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Me and Jessica said we don't feel that we made the wrong decision at all, even if nothing happens. I hope nothing does happen. I hope it just dissolves and nothing happens and everybody is safe. That's what we hope for. We made a decision based on our own accord because we knew it was like the possibility if this could go wrong in many different ways. The fact that we were going to be traveling during this, we didn't really want to travel behind this thing because the outer bands of this hurricane look enormous and they look like they're going to hit hard. This storm is going to make it all the way up to Ohio. I've been seeing the tracks of it and everything. It's going to hit Cincinnati. And seeing it from that perspective, it's like, well, I'm happy I'm at my home now. It's just going to be rain. Rain and maybe 30, 40 mile an hour winds. Wind gusts, right? Which we get a lot. That's not really a big deal. There may be a down power line here and there, but it ain't going to be like what is going to hit the coast. And it's a scary thing, guys. It's a scary, you know, we're praying for our family, our friends, our viewers, you know, down in Florida. And, you know, we just have to keep them in our thoughts and prayers. And, again, I could not believe they were directing traffic for the electric trucks coming into that Holiday Inn. I'm not sure if he was or not. I'm pretty sure this might have been the manager at Holiday Inn, but he was speaking so highly of these guys. And I was like, yeah. I went up to the guy. I went up to the head guy. I went and shook his hand. I said, thank God for people like you, man. You are awesome, you know, and be careful, be safe. You know, I was giving him the, you know, we'll be praying for you. And I just thank God for people like that, you know, that are, you know, you have us who are fleeing the storm and you have people going right into it. It kind of, in a way, it kind of makes me feel like, man, I feel like I should be down there helping. I do. I really do. And, you know, maybe there's more we can do and help for in the future. I may look into this. You know, maybe, I don't know what I would do, but something. Maybe a fundraiser or something in the future. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm never any good with these kind of things. Like, you know, I know people who've done them on YouTube or Facebook and different things like that, but I don't know. We'll see. But it's great that we have people out there that are racing toward the storm, right? When we went down there for Hurricane Irma, I know I've told this story before, but we were heading to the theme parks to go on vacation, and we put our vacation off for a day because of the storm. We waited until it was in Tennessee, and it was a nightmare driving down there, but all we could think about was everybody trying to get back into Florida because everybody evacuated. Irma was ridiculous. Here's Florida, okay? Here's Florida on a map. Here was Hurricane Irma, completely covering the entire state. Excuse me. That was insane. And that was another one that kind of went up 75 and kind of just went, you know, all over. I remember once we got into Tennessee, it started raining like crazy. Not like the rain we saw today, but this rain is supposed to be pretty like torrential downpours, like all throughout. So glad we got out of there. But at the same time, we went down there and we were staying at a resort called Pop Century. Okay. Another place that is built to withstand Category 5 hurricane, up to like 200-mile-an-hour winds. I mean, these are some of the best buildings to stay. There are people that seek refuge in these resorts, you know, Floridians that are trying to get away, to escape. You know, and Disney, Universal, all these places really open themselves up to everybody trying to flee. Okay, and, you know, obviously, you know, they do what they can. They probably sell out and stuff like that, so that could be tough. But I remember when we got to Pop Century, it was like, here we are heading toward vacation, and all these people here had lost their homes. There was a guy, I know I've told this story before, probably recently. There was a guy who actually watches our YouTube channel now. And I'm sorry if I embarrass you by saying this, but it's something that really, really hit home for me. And I know everything worked out. Okay. But he was sitting outside and he was crying. He was straight bawling. I mean, he was crying. Sorry, I know. I won't say, you know, obviously no names or anything. He knows. And we've actually become pretty good friends over the years. But he had lost his condo. And it was down by Naples. And he couldn't get a hold of his sister. And I was sitting with him, and I said, man, anything I can do to help you. You know, we drove. I can drive you somewhere. You know, we'll figure it out. We'll try to, you know, any family close. And he did have some family close. But anyway, I'd offered to go up to the front, get him a coffee, right? Because nothing is a welcome as coffee, you know, just to kind of get your mind right a little bit. And I come back, and he had found his sister, or somebody had gotten a hold of her. She had gone to a shelter that was close. They do have shelters and stuff like that in Florida just for this, but she had gotten into a shelter, got a hold of her brother. And very happy ending. And also, he had lost his dog. Okay, and this was much later, so he was still kind of sad. And I told him, I said, you know, anything we can do, you know, I'll take a drive. And at this point, I had been talking to a lot of different people. I had been, you know, people were praying. I was praying with them, you know, trying to make them feel comfort. I didn't care that we were on vacation. I did not care. Neither did Jessica. Jessica was trying to, you know, they were giving out meals in bags and stuff, paper bag meals and stuff. We were going to bring those to people. Everybody refused, but, you know, we were trying to help. And it refused in a good, you know, they all said thank you and everything. But later on that night, somebody had found his dog. It was his neighbor who had lost his condo as well, because they were right next to each other. But he had grabbed his dog. And because I guess somebody was watching them, and they had to evacuate too, and the dog got away, and just a long story and everything. But yeah, you know, these hurricanes are no joke, guys. And this is what we kept remembering as this happened. And it was like, you know what? We're not going to be caught up in this. driving like crazy. I know I've talked about this a lot and everything, just sharing some of my stories of hurricanes that we have seen in the past. And that was an absolute nightmare. And this one very well could be. And just throwing the message out there for everyone in its path to be safe. Don't mess around if they tell you to evacuate or anything like that. You know, even, you know, get as far inland as you can. You know, and I know I talked to some people out there that actually watch the channel too. I ran into a lot of you guys in Florida, at Cabana Bay, at Disney, at Universal. People were coming up to us everywhere saying how much they love the channel and everything. And thank you all. Thank you who came up and said hello. It really makes me and Jessica feel good about what we do here. You know, it really does. And I know a couple of you that were like, it happens all the time. It's cool and everything. And you know, and this was a few days ago, and I was like, I hear you, you know, and all that stuff. But now, if you're watching, pay attention, okay? Just look and make sure it's not in your path. I know there was a lady that I was talking to where she said, you know, she's not too worried about it, and she lives in Panama City, or Panama, in the Panhandle. And if you're watching this, you know, I'm just saying, just pay attention. Make sure, I know you were talking about having, you know, family you can go to. You might want to go because they have started certain evacuations along the Gulf Coast there. Just make sure you're paying attention, guys. I talked to a lot of you guys that actually live in Florida. And thank you to all. It was nice visiting some of your stores as well. Got a big response from the Walmart. Walmart, we had, you know, a few of our different viewers that live in Florida shop at that Walmart. And it is absolutely gorgeous. It is. I love that Walmart on Turkey Lake Road. And a few of those other stores. I went into Dollar Tree. I really like that Dollar Tree. I mean, for as small as it is, they really pack in a lot of stuff. I really did like that Dollar Tree. Wasn't able to get down to Aldi. I was going to do Aldi, but obviously this happened, so we had to get out quick. And guys, just thank you all. Thank you all for your support through all this. It did help make our decision, reading through, you know, hundreds of comments that said, get out. You know, I was like, you know, all that helps. All that helps. I know some of you were telling us to just hunker down and stuff. Didn't really want to extend it out past that. Plus, like other people were saying, and like we know, these storms tend to create a lot of after damage. And then if power's out, that means no gas. These kind of things. And I'm telling you right now, even when we came down to Florida a couple weeks ago, me and Jessica are still seeing the same damage to some things that happened in Hurricane Irma. Billboards that have never been replaced. I mean, all kinds of things through southern Georgia that have never been replaced. We see them. We've taken photos of them. The funny thing is, we actually did see one being replaced on our way home yesterday. And I'm just thinking, this storm's going through the same path. Why are you just now doing this like 4 or 5 years later? Whatever. Anyway, it was a grueling drive. Some of the worst traffic we've probably been in through Atlanta. But it did kind of go smooth. It was kind of smooth going. You know, we have, obviously, me and Jessica in the car, so we can stay in that HOV lane. The problem was past Atlanta, Marietta, and beyond. It just seemed like it never stopped. Like, traffic just kept... It got worse. It got worse. Like, there was a part, like, 20 minutes before Atlanta, right? When you're coming up on, you know, the lanes are getting wider. There's different highways going different directions. That was really bad. And then we ran into some really bad traffic today, too. Of course, here... Right, we get to Florence, and I said, right as we were coming up into Florence, Kentucky, I told Jess, because there's a rest area right before that, I said, you got to use the restroom, because you know we're going to run into more traffic in Florence. And sure enough, yeah, we both stopped at that little rest area, and sure enough, traffic in Florence. And I don't even know what causes that. Heading into Cincinnati, I don't even know. They have an exit closed, but that's been closed for years now, and it's like you think people would either figure it out. I know that's not why that's causing all that traffic to back up, though. At least I don't think so. I mean, in Covington there's like 4 exits, like, right next to each other. So even if you're confused, I mean, it doesn't even say it on a GPS anymore. I've looked. So if people are using a GPS, well, it's not going to route you that way. You know? I will say that Cincinnati's kind of unfriendly, right? Unfriendly directions. Right? Like different highway signs. Like when you go through a part of Kentucky, you're actually on 75 and 71. Okay, well when you get to the bridge, 71 goes that way, 75 goes straight up, right? 71 goes to Columbus, 75 goes to Dayton. And maybe that confuses people, but I don't know why it would confuse people for like 20 miles. But anyway, I don't know. Traffic, obviously, through Lexington was terrible there for a little while, but not as bad as the other side, guys. I'll tell you what, you know, that I just hope that guy's okay. That was a bad... I've never seen a semi look like... I mean, the trailer was crushed, like, up the side of a mountain. Like, it looked like it hit the mountain head on. I don't know if it was a wind gust or another car or another truck. That is all we saw. I don't know if there was a car behind it, but I'll tell you what, there was maybe 10, 15 cop cars, 2 or 3 fire engines, fire trucks, and ambulances. It was bad. And there was a helicopter. I don't know. I think Jessica's right. I think it might have been a news helicopter, because usually like an ambulance helicopter or, you know, usually they're red and white, right? This one was black. So I don't know. Maybe it was a news helicopter. It was kind of hard to tell. It was kind of bending around. Plus, I was paying attention to the road, so kind of hard to see. Anyway, guys, back home, back to business, back to doing videos every day, which we've done. We managed to do a video every day here for you guys while we were gone. I know one of them came out a little later. Don't worry about that little guy. The internet's kind of... Sometimes, you know, you can't upload these videos on satellite, right? You have to have Wi-Fi. It would take you a day to upload a video on YouTube with satellite. And actually, I don't even know if it would work, to be honest with you. I've never been successful at it. But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for letting me rant tonight. It was a long, gruesome drive. Feel pretty good, though. Feel pretty good tonight. We're home. Let's throw a prayer out for the energy workers that are risking their lives heading down right into the middle of it. They do have set up like some of these different places that are able to withstand these hurricanes, right? I mean, there are places inland, right? Obviously, you don't want to be where the storm surge and all that stuff is, but they are safe. You know, they were talking about, you know, safety first and all that stuff, but they're heading right into it, guys. What bravery. What bravery. I so commend them on what they do, and thank God we have people that are ready to dive into it and help everybody. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.